recently hit 1,000 days in my uh, Perfect World 2 mod pack. Well, I mean, I suppose it's Mr. Beardstone's Perfect World 2, but it is my playthrough on my single player world. So, what I'd like to do is like to establish a benchmark, I suppose. Yeah. I'll take this whole map and just kind of give a little world tour. See what progress I've made since my 500. Yeah, my 500 day benchmark, which would have been I think almost 2 months ago. Retro. I may have a few problems to take care of as well because apparently I've run out of cobblestone, which should never happen. So, I'm streaming this live right now on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, of course, because that was a free option. We shall start with my own personal engine, Wilbert, modeled after modeled after the train or the engine itself, also called Wilbert, which was named after Reverend Wilbert Audrey. It's not the it's not the cleanest example or the smooth. I think I just need to sit down and fix it because when I built it, I couldn't figure out how to get the buffers and the headstocks to work in this mod pack. It would seem to me I'm just a bit of a fool, but I have since worked out what that problem is. Ah, there we go. And hopefully that will have solved, or hopefully that issue has been solved. Also, shouldn't I be seeing like 10,000? Yeah, that train's empty. Is this one empty? This one is empty. That's a problem. They're all set to wait about 5 to 10 seconds before they continue on to their next station. And then once they've all unloaded, or at the very least, once it's been idle for 5 seconds, uh, this vault should be full, and these guys will continue on down their way. The way I have this set up is I have no idea the rate that chutes and funnels remove items from from these portable storage interfaces, but I have 6 of them set up on both tracks, and then each one is set to drop 12 stacks at a time. Or I guess it's set up in such a way so that it'll suck out 12 stacks at a time if it had 2 of these lined up. Now, this train on its own, it only has 3, so it'll only remove 6 stacks at a time. Still plenty fast for what I'm doing here. Now, I put 2 in here, to make it easier to line everything up, but also because I was trying to I made this initially so that I could unload my tunnel bore, which I used to make all the tunnels on the map. But what I am doing here, you can take a little bit of this cobblestone out of my backpack. Uh, don't ask why there's so much beetroot. I haven't quite figured that out myself. But there, we send some to there. I produce basically all the generic blocks you can get from cobblestone here. This is basically just my production facility. I try to keep this chunk loaded, or this is where I'll AFK if I ever have to. But I store cobblestone, gravel, sand, and then I guess from sand I also get soul sand, but I don't keep track of that. I'm more interested in the nether quartz I would get from that. If we continue on down the line, we will get diorite, andesite, tuff, scoria, terracotta, and bricks. This, like I said, this can all be produced from cobblestone. And then we're going to look at right here. I also have sandstone, red sand. I mean, don't really need a whole lot of it, so I've got a fairly small amount of it stored here. But the idea here being that, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I have a surplus of everything I could need for building. Now, I will admit, a lot of these buildings, they don't have roofs. Some of them aren't even finished. That's because I have a list right here, and I think only in the last 10 days of the world have I actually completed my list for the mineral mill. Now, that is what this area is called. This is the mineral mill, likely because it takes, not likely, just because it takes cobblestone and produces most of the minerals you can get in the game. And because this is where my tunnel bore would unload, I would also get ores, so that's where I bring it over here. I can probably clean this up now. I don't do my cooking here anymore. But I will crush down the ores into, well, they're crushed variant. And then I'll come out here, it'll get washed, and then those will all produce. You know what, I'm right here. I might as well just walk over here and stop flying around. It'll produce, you know, I've got all the base game ingredients, but then the red, like you wash redstone, it produces no, you wash iron, it produces redstone. Wash gold, it produces quartz. Wash zinc, which isn't actually in the base game, but that can be washed and turned, and it makes more gunpowder. Not entirely sure why. And then quartz, copper can be washed and turned into clay. Hello? Oh, that's why we don't keep this guy here. I have another train, and this is set up for another different automation. That is to help automate redstone, gunpowder, and glowstone in another factory in another part of the world we will get to in a little bit. This is the difficult part, I suppose, of doing a world tour instead of just having a compilation of a dozen or so videos I recorded, and that's because I didn't record any videos. I just kind of binged. I played the game for, I don't know, 3 to 4 hours at a time over the last 100 or 200 days. Just sat down and I'd work on it basically until I was done, or until it was finished. So this is actually picking up andesite to take to a farm way out that way, and we will see this guy later on. This train's name is Billy, based off the railway, not the railway series, Thomas Train. I don't know. I find it more entertaining to give trains names and just any old driver, apparently. Probably because I didn't have, or couldn't be bothered, more likely, to make a conductor for that. I have a little thing set up back here so I can produce brass, but I only really produce it on demand. So if I have more brass right now than I really need, but if I want to, I can take a little fuel out of here and feed it into this. The problem is, I will also change it to andesite, and I'll produce a large amount of andesite from there as well. So it's usually, I do have to change it from time to time, but I just find it more convenient to do large batches of everything in that, because I wanted to have an individual factory to produce all these create mod items somewhere else. Now, obviously, haven't done that yet. Well, not obviously. I know I haven't done that. You haven't seen that little bit of the map. But yeah, all this in this one little area. And then I've just gone and flattened a bunch of this out. I've considered stretching this all the way down, but then we have other issues of, well, I've got to fill in the space, and I, quite frankly, have just been too lazy to do so. I don't know why. I would much rather get all the farms and everything built first. I don't know why. I just I also don't have silk touch on everything just yet. But yeah, I couldn't be bothered to fill that in. I've got three steam generators, or not steam generators. I've got three. Oh yeah, I guess steam generator is not the wrong word. Steam engines over there. Now they're only size 9. They're not size 18. And this once again comes back to I can't be bothered. I haven't begun producing blaze cakes just yet. One thing I would like to do, and this is a very minor detail I'll get to later, is I want to have a bunch of different areas producing different items to justify, I guess, having this whole world where I'm traveling around. So like this right here, I need to build a building around it, but this is basically where I get a bunch of my dripstone. This is where I get all of my dripstone from, but I don't always need it is the problem. I have a good amount of it stored up. Uh, this has actually been my storage room for the last 1,000 days, and I don't know. I recently went out on a archaeology expedition. This is one of the mods in the mod pack. It's better archaeology. It produces or it just has a bunch of skeletons in it, and you can use the villager fossils for like I guess item frames, like just displaying individual items. I have chosen to have them all hold TNT. And then this was designed in such a way so that when these drills go around breaking these, some of them should go into the chest right there, and everything that doesn't, it'll just fall to the ground, and eventually it will find its way pushed into this cravat, this bit right here. And the goal was to have that go into a big collection system, but it would turn out I don't do as much building with dripstone right now as I would think as I think I would, and more importantly, I don't. I mean, I just don't build really. It's kind of what it comes down to. Now this is a sneaky little access I have to my nether portal, and then well, the underground mechanism that takes everything around. So I've got these three vaults. This is all just a bigger storage to help empty everything out, and then this goes out into here, and this will be only ores or any like valuable things of that nature. And we'll look at over here. We'll get everything else basically. As long as I want to make sure this is loaded, so that once I get the cobblestone generator fixed, then this won't be an issue. But it's basically a mess of belts, item drains, and vaults. Now I understand belts are kind of laggy when you get too many of them in one area. The problem with that is I don't care. It hasn't really been an issue for me just yet. I'm sure it will be at some point, but I've managed to avoid it thus far, and I'm going to pretend it's not a problem until it becomes one, which is realistically a bad attitude. I also have to build a facade around this building. I think I came home. I picked up one egg on my way home one day, and then I just threw it once I was here without really thinking. A chicken spawned in, grew up, and then that laid an egg, and then basically I have created a chicken problem for myself. Now, the main line I have running through my world is 3 tracks. The idea here is that you travel down on the left side, you come back on the right side. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. The trains will always be traveling down on the furthest left track. That's how it's meant to be worked anyway. Now over here, I've got this little cove. I have no idea what I'm doing with this area just yet. I just know I made a really ugly factory building over here. It it's not the cleanest, I will admit. I mean, it's clean, I suppose, but It looks weird. It's got weird colors. Like, why would I use red sandstone bricks? But basically, what this factory does is it takes all my excess logs from my tree farm, which we will get to in a moment. Several minutes, more than likely. But it'll come here. It washes, not washes. It smelts all the logs. And then the logs are taken, or they're put into here. Usually, I think 64 at a time. Nope, as many as possible, but usually 16, 60, 16, 64. My bad. And then these come into here. 4 charcoal can be made into 1 coal, and then that 1 coal is then spread out. Not spread out. It's passed through into this basin, which will compress 9 of them into a coal block, as you can see there. And then the coal block and a little bit of lava produced from an infinite pool down here will be pressed into diamonds, and then the diamonds will come in here. And it's pretty straightforward. I've just got a small steam engine producing the power for this place. Should be more than enough. And then, yeah, my main log train will come around and drop everything off here. So we will continue on to the east now. Now, generally, I think it's a good habit to travel on the middle track. I missed that last one, simply put. And I have used a bunch of these zinc lights all throughout the railway, just trying to keep the tracks lit up so that there won't be any mobs spawning on there. I need to put bridges in all these places. I have a lot of like minor details I need to fill in. This was going to be like a transfer between narrow gauge and standard gauge. The problem I ran into there was after I got standard gauge going, I had no interest in uh, any more narrow gauge stuff. I think up in this area, I'm going to build a large train station. Uh, Basically, it's going to be where all the trains are going to live, and then it'll give me an excuse to build just a surplus of other trains. Which I don't really need an excuse to do, but I will likely... I'll do that to justify it for myself, let's put it that way. Now, over this way, we will find... This is just where I... Yeah, okay. Not taking Wilbert over here. But this is my wood farm. Or not wood farm. This is the production facility. So train comes by. It's got one freight car dedicated to each type of wood currently in the game. I guess once uh, the mod pack is compatible with 1.20, is it 21 or 22 that has the pale colored wood? Anyway, whatever it is, that'll be a big a big change I have to do here. Is I'll have to add another car, and realistically, I don't think there's really room for that, which isn't a problem because I think by then either the world's gonna be too big or there'll be just another version of the mod pack going around. And there's a whole lot of space here because I had originally planned on decorating the area, and frankly, I just have not. Is my render distance... I feel like my render distance is fairly low. I don't know if I dropped it at some point, but I feel like you should be able to see just a little bit more of the mountains and everything in the background. Yeah. So let's get out of here. Now, there's only one train that comes out this way, and that is going to be Billy, the orange train. And he shouldn't be here today, considering that yesterday morning he was at the mineral mill. Most of my trains are set to leave at a set time and not just when they're ready. I try to. I feel like that kind of helps keep it more organized in such a way that no one's stuck. That's what I'm trying to avoid, because trains traveling in one direction and other trains coming in the opposite direction, they can run past each other no problem. But once the if a train has to cross two lanes to get over to the other set of tracks, then it's just not going. A branch line, perhaps, it's just not going to work. Now, this is not a very realistic or even a decent bridge, but I needed an excuse, or wanted an excuse rather, to travel to the top of a hill, and there's no really decent, clean way to do it. One thing I am going to have to do, and this is going to take some time. This is actually a spawner-based spider farm. I just went underground and picked up a bunch of, well, everything down below. There were, I believe, 7 or 8 down below, and I just went and took a bunch of them. It's currently powered by water wheels, and I've got deployers holding stone swords, because that was the most... Uh-oh. That was just what I had the most of at the time. Huh. What am I doing here? Okay, there we go. It's just a sloppy little thing right now. I could eventually, and I do plan on eventually setting it up so that I can farm other items, and not other items, but so that it's automatically farming, and then taking the items over here to where Billy can pick everything up. It's a fairly large. I had originally planned on making it a sugarcane farm, but I built one in the factory that Billy supplies, so it kind of became redundant. And then I need to clean up this tunnel. I haven't lit this up much at all. Uh oh. And I also haven't fixed this track just yet. And that would be because it doesn't go anywhere. There's just the end of the tunnel down here. And that's kind of because I think I realized I don't really have any plans at all for how to extend this forward. But I suppose one thing I did plan ahead on, and thankfully I did this. I can actually drive most of my tank engines anyway can be driven in both directions. I had considered flattening out a little bit of this area over here, but I haven't thought of anything I could really put in that area just yet, so it hasn't happened. Now, at some point, I would like to take this uh, this wood mill, this wood production facility, and actually make something of it, at least so that I can unload other items. I could take like strip logs over to the create item factory, because I'm not producing the machines or any of the mechanical stuff. So fans, any press, any mixers, I'm not producing those on a large scale at all. I think that's something I need to work on. also think I should fill in that hole back there. It's bugging me. This just isn't quite this isn't quite what I had hoped it would be. I don't think I was really planning ahead, and well, I know I wasn't planning ahead because I know how I work. I didn't plan that area ahead, same way I didn't really plan this out when I filled that in. I was just kind of doing some tedious tasks to I don't know, clear my mind, I guess. I do think something I should work on is get some proper signals, maybe some overhead signals, maybe some what are they called? Semaphores. Get some of those going on the side of the. Hang on, wrong button. There we go. There we go. Just press every button until something happens. Just to make sure I know certain areas are going to be clear. I'm not going to just run into one of my locomotives that's supplying other factories or running their schedule, because I am the only one on here that can actually control it. I suppose while I'm here, it's probably not a bad idea to explain my tree farm situation. So I have this broken up into two three contraptions, I suppose. This one over here takes care of trees that I think grow in larger quantities. Well, by that I mean it takes care of the double white trees. Uh, cherry, just because I need to throw them in somewhere. I think, yeah. So I think this was all rich soil at one point, and I think it was a solid rich soil all the way down. But then I started producing too much jungle logs, too many jungle logs. I had like a stack of like 20,000 right there, and that was a lot of lag, simply put. Oh, and I grow mangrove right here too, and they're fairly simple things. Like this guy right here, just grows bamboo, because you can get planks from it, and all the stripped varieties. So I I like it. I'm basically I'm farming it just in case I ever get to a point where I want to build with this. Now it hasn't really happened, but I do see myself using it for something like a floor or a roof if I'm trying to make it stand out and not use like, I don't know, if I was looking for like a yellow look and I didn't want to use hay to mimic thatch, I could use this and call it good enough. And then yeah, here, I guess the first 3 or 4 woods that were introduced. I don't know if acacia and dark oak came. Nope, not first 4 because jungle was number 4. But that's just where the smaller ones come in. But yeah, I'm just I'm trying to just make it productive to the point where when I feel like it, which probably isn't the best way to approach it, but when I feel like it, I can actually sit down and just build when inspiration strikes. Like what I'm imagining for this area is more of a, I guess, British homes, or some of those like really tightly packed cities. So I say British because I imagine streets where houses are like just pressed right up against the sides of each other, and there's really no room. There's no like view into the distance like you might get in like a suburb, or I guess country houses where there's gaps between the houses. Don't want to do that because then you have to build all four sides of the house. Whereas if you do a city type uh, architecture where everything is just going to be stacked right against each other, you only have to build two sides of the house and then a roof. And roofs shouldn't be that difficult, I suppose. I mean, you can just do a series of slopes or flat roofs and call it good. It'll probably be okay. Now, this is going to be where all of my farms that require a person being nearby, aside from the spider farm, which is way over here. I'm underneath this, so you can't actually see the roof of the structure. The spider farm is way over here. We're down this way. In fact, set a temporary waypoint. Let's see just how far it is. 2,500 in a straight line. That doesn't account for the zigging and the zagging that I have to do for my farm. But yes. Oh, by the way, these don't work. In case that hasn't been explained to anyone. These don't actually suck it out of the minecart. If anyone knows how to fix that, by the way, I am all ears. That'd be great. But yeah, this is just your generic Froglight farm. Some spawners I stole from the Nether because the create mod allows that, I guess, when you enable it. And then just a ton of iron golems right here. And they just all tear these guys up. Now, I think some of the magma cubes can get up there and get to them, but I'm sure by the time I've really maxed out all... Well, not maxed out, but by the time I've gotten all my use... how do I say this? By the time all the iron golems have died, I'll have more than enough both magma cream and froglights. I'm sure of that much. But yeah, that's my little wood farm area. The reason I'm putting all the farms that require active, uh, that actually require a player to be there and not just chunk loading everything, is so that way I can, well, actually have the trees grow, because I think those have to have like something to do with random ticks and players loading the area. It sounds right. I feel like I read that somewhere, I heard that somewhere, whatever it was. But it also just gives me an excuse and a reason to just be in more places in my world. Now, up at the top of this hill here, there's just a little branch line that goes, like, it just goes to the top of that hill, hits a plateau, and then I think I was going to have a farm up there. I didn't end up building it yet. There goes Billy. Now, Billy is set up so that you can collect a little bit of everything to try and Billy is set up so that you can collect everything you'll need for the production of glowstone dust, redstone dust, and gunpowder. Now, the three of those you need. Now, the way I like to do it is, I think the way the create mod has it set up is you take dust and take, what is it, ground netherrack, which is cinder flower, and then spray potions on it. We'll get to it later, and it'll be easier to explain it when I'm looking at it. This right here is actually if I can get the wings on, there we go. This is actually a real building near where I live. It's an abandoned building, which is why there's nothing really connecting it to the tracks. It just sits near the train tracks near where I live, and yeah, nothing happens with it. It's actually green, but I have the sandstone farm, and I figured that would be a decent look for it. Now this area right here, better viewed through this, best viewed through the free cam. This is actually a grain mill, once again, near where I live. It's got its own little diesel shunter right here. I based this one off of Salty from Thomas the Train, Thomas the Tank Engine, and Friends, if we're being uh, literal. It's got this little road running through here. Now, I should have some arms right here, and I should really extend this. I should extend the road out to make it seem more realistic, but unfortunately, the world is built around the trains, and there's no real convenient uh, way to do cars and trucks. That being said, I've done it in one place, but I don't like it enough to do it everywhere. But I mean, my game plan, my end goal is to have one of my trains coming through here. It'll go up onto this side, and it'll probably unload right around here. And it actually has 7 cars, which is a lot. I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot of cars, but it's got 7 cars. You can unload each one here. They should not all be full, but it's gonna have a few stops, a handful of stops where they can fill up. So you can unload into here. These are all hollow, and then the game plan is to fill them. Quite simply, it's to fill the spaces with the carrots, the potatoes, the everything I'm producing. And then hopefully either in one of these towers or this giant facility right here, which has a hole in the roof for some reason, I can actually produce all the foods possible through the both the what is it, Farmer's Delight, all everything through Farmer's Delight, and there's another one which I think is May. What if I just look at maize? Corn Delight, which I think is like an add-on to the Farmer's Delight, but you can do quite a bit with the corn. Unfortunately, I can't remember how much. Simply put, it's a lot. And also, I just find the idea of giant fields entertaining. Like I can use those fields to kind of fill out the world. It makes it feel more lived in, I suppose. I think that's what I'm going for, or how I guess it would be best to describe it. We continue on out this way. And obviously, I said I based that on salty. It's not salty because salty's red, but it's the same type of engine. And I wanted to give him windows, so the only trapdoors I could find that had or that looked like realistic windows and still had like the red outline were the crimson and the warped. Now this right here, not done yet, but this is my farming area. So one thing I can do, assuming I get out of first person, I have built a couple combines and a couple tractors, and I will admit they are not the most realistic looking, and they just never were going to be. But if you slow the train down a little bit, because it is built with tracks underneath the ground, and there's just a little train with a couple glass panes going up, and it helps sort of hide the facade just a little bit better. Now, the other problem you will run into is the way I have this train built. it doesn't actually collect everything, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's because a lot of these, as they grow, they'll get another seed growing on top of them. That is basically how they manage to grow too tall. So if I want to do this in the most efficient way, I have to have a second combine with the header harvesting everything one block higher, and then that way it'll actually collect everything and put it into the tanks in the machine. I just haven't produced that yet. And this, honestly, is probably one of the least exciting parts of this world. But such is farming. Hopefully I have this set up so I can actually continue on to... Nope. Nope. It would seem that I'm on the wrong track. I'm not entirely sure how I did this or how I got it wrong, but somewhere underneath this dirt, the uh, tracks are set up so that left will actually take you right. And it also continues out this way for some reason. And then I guess I made that area too wide. I didn't feel like hitting that tiny little section there. I laid all the tracks out for all the space I had, and then when it actually came time to do the rows for harvesting, I got lazy. But I do have it set up so that you can come through here. Unfortunately, the arm doesn't extend, but I also know that the header won't quite reach, so we come over here. The portable item interface will open up. It will release whatever items were inside of the inside of the machine into a large vault right here. The vault will then spin about into this water stream, goes up into this vault up here, and from this vault and a couple chutes, it unloads into a train which is not here. And then in the same fashion, there is a F5, F5, F5. This tractor right here, which through the create mod, you can take all these seeds, throw them in these vaults, which I don't know what mod allows it, but you can actually access when they're part of a contraption. Now I will say, one flaw, there's probably many, but one flaw I have in this branch line, I suppose, is that if you continue straight down it, there's actually no way to continue onto back onto the main line without heading all the way down a separate branch. So that's a little thing I need to work on. I just didn't find there to be a convenient means to connect them. And you'll see what I mean in a moment. So the main branch that spurs off of this one, that's not the main line so far, is this one right here. And that continues about 2,000 or 3,000 blocks north. I've got this bridge right here, and that's supposed to be a tunnel. The tunnels are not finished yet. That's because I just did not find tunnels to be particularly exciting at the time. This is my cobblestone farm, which, for some reason or another, is not currently producing cobblestone, which, as we saw earlier, is something of a problem. And we are, look at that, 6,778 blocks away from the furthest... Uh-oh. Yeah, it's one of these. How did it break? That's wrong. Well, if we go into yeah, so this is supposed to be smooth sandstone all the way across. So I'm not entirely sure uh, what went wrong there. This was all glued up at one point. Not entirely sure how that got broken, unless it's not chunk loaded anymore, which also doesn't seem right because there's supposed to be a chunk loader in here somewhere. Yeah, I can't imagine how this broke. It's not supposed to be broken. Also, these arms are so much longer than they were before. They're only supposed to be one long. Huh. I guess maybe if you abuse the crate mod a little too much, that kind of happens. I guess that's the only thing that makes any sense to me right now. I will fix this off camera, but this is genuinely really upsetting right now. But it would explain why all these trains are empty. Because this machine is actually set up so that once both this vault, where everything comes into, once this is both, what is it, once it's 100% full, and this vault are full, I think it'll shut down. And that's through this clutch right here. So it's still working. Because these are both shut off. There you go, that explains it. So you've got threshold switch here, threshold switch over here. Both come over to this guy, and some redstone torches. When the torches are, well, I guess when these are full, these become unpowered, which powers the torches, and just shuts this whole system down. So that's a problem. I think this was chunk loaded with the chunk loader mod I have, or I guess Mr. Beardstone has installed because this is his mod pack. But that became unloaded and broke. I mean, that's it. It broke. We'll continue away from that at this point, so I don't have to deal with it. We'll continue on to the left here. So that other branch, it comes down, it comes over that flat area, down that little slope, and then we continue out this way. Now, I think when I did my last 500-day update, it wasn't flat or anything. I think I extended it out, but nothing really came of that. Now, what I do have here is the factory I said I was working on. Lightning struck here. I should probably put a lightning rod somewhere on the roof where it's all stone. But if you come inside here, there's also giant holes in the wall here where there's probably supposed to be a door. Another portal for convenient movement because I don't like using waypoints, and I also don't think they're not waypoints. I don't think they have the waystones in this mod pack. I'm pretty sure there aren't. But yeah, we can see here what happens. Billy comes down, stops at the station up there, and then backs down into this siding where he unloads twice. Once right here, where he unloads what would be gold and andesite. Unfortunately, I think this is stopped right now because we're not producing all the items we need. Oh, and because these are different colors, they are treated as different doors. point being, in this mod pack, and I don't know if this is an updated version of a different pack or something. In fact, let us just look it up right quick, shall we? Take this and mix it with, not that. Create more recipes. All right. But nether wart and andesite will make nether rack, and then I take that nether rack, and it comes up here. It's ground down. Probably not the safest. And then in this machine over here, it takes additional blaze rods. But I think it's maxed out on blaze rods right now. And apparently it's got a bunch of dirt in there. I'll get that out eventually. Probably. And then in the next building of the large structure is where I have other farms going on. So we have brown mushrooms and sugar. Well, brown mushrooms are produced here. I'm going to get some sugar cane and the netherrack. They all come down over here and are used to farm. The problem I'm running into right now is just getting this spider farm set up over there. Yeah. There we go. But now it's actually going to produce the spider eyes I need, or the poisonous spider eyes I need. And then those, I guess they just get kicked out on the floor right now. Probably not the best place for them. Let's go ahead and give them a little chest just to make sure that nothing is going to be lost. But we will take what we have here. And toss it in here to prove a point. The point being, I just made a mistake. Oh no. Well, this one too, for some reason, isn't connected properly. This is supposed to be the night vision potions, of which I don't have any. I think I have gold, but I don't have any. Yeah, there's the gold. I have some golden carrots. So we can give a proof of concept. So that should mix into night vision. It comes up into these spouts, and then the spout onto the cinder flower, and we get glowstone dust. Now, the problem I'm going to run into, especially since I just tossed all those spider eyes in there, maybe I run back over and get some of those out before they're gone. It might be a little late for that. We saved some of those at least. I like to keep these spread out evenly, which probably doesn't make any sense, but it's just something I like to do. My own little way, I guess, of controlling everything. Try and keep it symmetrical. Now what I have on this machine, I think it's on this one, should be a hopper, right? Nope. Where's it at? I should have a hopper on here somewhere. Why is it? Sure, alright. I guess it's down here. But anyway... Oh. That's nice. You can throw an item in right here, and it will follow up to a mechanical arm that then mixes it onto here. It makes a poison potion and then a potion of harming, and then that is pumped out using the smart pump into here, and we get well, I thought we got Cinderflower. I'd like to get up there real quick just so I can look at it. It's curious as to why it's not producing it as fast as it could be. But at the same time, it is only gunpowder. We have a very large supply of gunpowder from grinding up ores somewhere else. And from 15 golden carrots, I have this much. 400. Right. I suppose another project I need to do is I need to have another train that comes in here and picks up everything that is delivered. I don't know if I can do it here or if I want to have it transferred up here or in a little guy over here. No clue how I'm going to go about doing this, but if I can get those items transferred to another train to transport all of the dust. Oh, and this was what I used to move all of the frogs around. I needed something that had many seats in it because I play with large biomes. So I had cold biome over here near where the frogs are. That's actually my spawn as well. I had the warm biome, which is where the frogs are, and most places, in fact, around. But the only real warm area I had was up here, which also happens to be where we are going next. There we go. We are coming up on the 1 hour mark for this as well, which I find fairly impressive for what I thought to be like it's a big world, but it's also there's not a whole lot going on with it just yet. It's mostly factories, right? There is this font or this pillager outpost right here. I think it'd be fun to do something with that, but I also don't think I have a really good idea for that just yet. I suppose if I could pacify pillagers reliably, that'd be a good way to get just a large supply of passengers to put on trains. Just a fun little thing I think of. But another thing to consider is there are villagers, and villagers would work just as well. Yeah. So we produce carrots right here, little carrot farm. And then got beetroot growing right here, potatoes over here, and then this is that big old train that carries all the grains and all the foods around. It was based off Oliver from the TV series and from the books. Now, one thing about chunk loading all this area is I think I'm limited to about 10 chunks. And the other thing to consider is if it's claimed, it can't be harvested by these machines. At least not the way I've been doing it. So I should get over there and unclaim that as well. But my idea for all this is that I can take these areas, give them a purpose, give me a reason to come here, and finish their buildings, but also give me a reason to actually produce anything around here. Like, why should I build and fill out this world if there's nothing to do around it? Now, up at the top of this mountain, I've been slowly filling in this area. I'd like to turn this into an infinite lava supply. Give it the sort of a volcano look, I suppose would be the right word for it. And then I could have a track that loops up here, kind of probably around the edge, very slowly winding its way. Not probably not winding, but slowly making its way up the hill. And then that way I have a place where I can have a infinite supply of lava and make it seem like it's part of the world and not just some giant pit I dug in the ground somewhere. The only problem is it needs a little bit more work to clean it up. What I did here was I poured buckets of lava down, then I picked up the bucket of lava, the source block, and then I put down a source of water, and it filled a little bit down here, but the important thing is it created a quick and easy wall so that I could start filling in this area. The problem is, once I start filling in this area, I'm fairly confident that this isn't going to be 10,000 blocks. So I think what I need to do is get my mining drill out and just dig out a large chunk down there, and then just I guess just pretend it's not there once the time comes. Uh, yeah, that's that's basically the idea. It's not a huge project. It's in fact pretty silly. But it takes the advancement tapping the mantle. I'd say a little too literally, but that's sort of the fun of it, I suppose. I think the other thing I'd have to do is I have to give a schedule to that train so that it's actually it can actually do its job in transporting all the items. Now this track, it just continues unnecessarily far north. Over to my nearest jungle biome, believe it or not. And there's no real point in doing this. It's just something I felt like doing one day. I just laid tracks for a couple hours, went and dug a hole. I don't think I have any real plans for the end of the line out here, which will make a difference because it seems the world has decided it's not going to be loading anything anymore. But at the furthest distance I've made it to, which is around here, which from us is another 1,000 blocks. So we're probably looking at easily 8,000 blocks away from that waypoint. It could be even more. It likely is even more. I really enjoy this large, sprawling network of rails. The problem is, I need to justify it because I don't have. Uh-oh. Now this is in fact a small problem I have with trying to load so much. I've traveled so far. A lot of this doesn't like to load in. So I might try and move this out of the way, but the only rail solution I have to this at this point is to... I can't even get out of the train. If I can, I will drive it forward to a point where I'm roughly centered in the loaded area, and then I'll log out and log back in. But what ends up happening a lot of the time is let's see if we can't do something entertaining here. Nope, that's not working. All right, sweet. So let's do it this way. Uh, from me to you, thanks for watching this far in. I'm probably going to end my stream right now. This is also going to be uploaded raw as the VOD and World Tour. Gonna call that good. It's good enough anyway. Uh, thanks for watching this far into it. We've got a little bit of work that needs to be done. Well, realistically, a lot of work that needs to be done, but I think this is going to be where I end the stream for today. I've got some things to fix, things to take care of. I'd like to do all that off stream to get that taken care of and have it done, hopefully reliably. We are now 1,003 days in, already losing daylight. I'd like to have, if I can get it open. Nope. Are they gonna let me? Haha. Yeah, this isn't working. I'd like to have that checklist from earlier in the stream finished before I hit 2,000 days. I mean, ideally have all the farms and the production areas done before 1,500 days, and then that way I can actually focus on building out some areas of the world and make it seem more uh, lived in, like this right here. This random farm area in the middle of nowhere, it needs a house. In fact, I think it could use a few houses just to make it seem like there's actually people who live out here. I still have no means of farming meat, which I think would benefit from maybe even just a small animal farm, maybe around here. Because I'm planning on putting a house right here. House, maybe a small barn, but this is supposed to be like the sort of area one of the farmers lives. This would be like basically it would make this the farming line all the way out, except for this factory, which just sits right on the edge of the branch line. And then I think another thing I need to do is I need to choose a place to end this line. So I've continued it north this way. I think I need to just have a proper finishing point. Where is that? No clue. But it needs to have a concise end to justify starting that tunnel. But it does need to end somewhere. Even if all it does is come to the end of this tunnel and then maybe turn left, and then you've got this hilly area here. I have no idea what to do there. Maybe make it like a engine production facility, which was on my to-do list to have an area that farms all the items from the create mod. I'm really just throwing these ideas out there, keeping them open. But once again, 5 minutes later, thanks for watching, and you have a good day.